G'day peeps, Tiny here from Offtap Brewing. Welcome back to the Beginner Brewing Series number 2. This is the 2 can and 2 kilo experiment sort of thingy that you can do. Now, just a note on the last video, I did actually lose some footage. I can view the footage in Windows Media Player, but my video editing software just won't accept it, won't load it up. I don't know why. It sees it, but it won't put it in, won't do what I want. So I left it out, and I've just uploaded the video which you saw last week on that. So where I'm talking about going to put a video in of me mixing 2 cans and 2 kilos of wet LME, that didn't happen. But you know, that sort of stuff does happen. Okay, now I've run into a bit of a problem with this, with the actual brew. We've had a bit of a cold snap here, and I've checked my temperatures, and you know, the temperatures are within tolerance of the packet yeast that it comes with. But I've got a stalled fermentation, which does happen, which means all the sugars haven't been eaten. Your beer is going to be very sweet and low in alcohol when this happens. So the reason I know this is because when I drop my hydrometer in the wort, I normally do it once the kreuzen finishes, goes away. Then I drop the hydrometer in and I can just watch it now. I don't have to put a vessel in, I don't have to turn a tap on or anything. It's just my way of doing it. I don't suggest, I'm not telling you guys to do that by any means. You find your easy way and you stick with it, whatever works for you. This works for me, dropping it in. So I noticed it's been sitting at 1030, which means it's only dropped 40 points, which stalled, dead, it's not going anymore. So that could be contributed to a number of factors. Temperature, I don't really think so, because the yeast is an ale yeast and it can do 18 degrees and it's sitting on around 18, 19 degrees anyhow. So yeah, temperature, I don't think so. Temperature probably would have slowed it down, but over 3 days I would have noticed a little bit of change on the hydrometer. I'm sort of swaying toward underpitching my yeast. For such a high gravity beer, I added both the packets of yeast that came in the kit in kilos, and they're normally 5 gram packets, I'm pretty sure, 5 or 7 gram packets, and when you buy your other yeasts, you know you're getting about 11 grams. So for that higher gravity, I think I've underpitched. I should have at least I should have rehydrated my yeast in some lukewarm water, some 23 degree water. I should have let my yeast rehydrate and so just become active again in some plain water. Now that's the minimum thing that I should have done. I neglected to do that, thinking that okay, I've got 2 packets, I'll get away with it. I haven't. So what I've learnt in the past is have a backup yeast. And I don't mean the same yeast that you're using. My backup yeast and my go-to backup yeast is SN9 premium wine yeast. Now this is very, very cheap yeast. This is only like $2 a packet, where my normal yeast, USO5, is $4 a packet. So it's half the price. Now this yeast is rated for very low temperatures, down to 12 degrees or 10 degrees or something, and very, very high alcohol, and we're talking 18%, 18 ABV. So, we're talking very high in alcohol, very high amounts of CO2, and very low temperatures. So this is a very good yeast. It does, however, leave your wort sweet if you start it with this. It's only a backup yeast. It's only to restart fermentation once fermentation has stalled. It comes with a yeast nutrient. It's very tolerant of things. So I've added this to it, knowing that I've done a beer just using this, and it came out sweet. I've got a keg of beer and it's sickly sweet. I mix it with other beers just to get rid of it, because a lot of money went into that beer. So it was an experiment to find out. You can read and read about stuff, but until you actually do it and see and taste the changes that changing things in your fermentation, whatever. Till you see it happen, you know, for me, I don't really understand. So, SN9 is my backup yeast. Very cheap, blah, blah, blah. I've been through all that sort of stuff. Now, as I said, I've added it to this. So, let's have a look. You can see it moving around in there. Starting to become active. So we know it's going to work. There's a lot more bubbles in there. So those yeast particles are floating around, rehydrating. They're sorting out what they have to do, analysing the amount of sugar, and then they're going to go to work. That's my hydrometer. As I said, I just leave it in there. Once the krausen dissipates, I drop the hydrometer in, close the lid, and I can just open the lid and check it. So I want that to come down to 1010 at least to give me my high alcohol beer that I'm going for here with my 2 cans and 2 kilos. So yes, lesson. I thought I'd get away with the yeast as it was, just with the 2 packets. I'm wrong, definitely wrong. If you're going to go for the higher alcohol sort of thing, if you're going to do a 2 can and a kilo or something like that, you know, you're going to mix your stuff up. Do a Cooper's can, you know, black and tan. Do a ale, a pale ale and a dark beer or something. You know, there's a lot of different ways you can mix this up. You're only limited by your own imagination. But my advice would be to rehydrate your yeast, and it's a very simple process. Put it in some water. Not too hot, not too cold. About 22 degrees is fine. 22, 24, yeah, it's fine. Lukewarm, and the yeast goes to work and does its thing. My thumb's getting so hard on the camera. Of course, you can make a starter. That would have been more recommended because that would have just gone nuts in there making a starter. And I know there's a correct way of doing a starter with the amount of sugar and the amount of water. I just go 100 grams and to a litre. So whether it's malt extract, sugar, and I use wet malt extract I use the goo in the tin, and I just go 100 grams per litre, and that works out awesome for me. That's a starter I did. If you saw the time lapse, this is the starter still sort of chugging along from that time lapse video, but have a look at the amount of yeast in that, and it's still dropping. You know, that's a massive yeast count in there from an 11 gram packet. Now that's going to start 60, 80. Kate's got a beer, and I'm going to have a double beer for that to start. So I'm going to have 43, 45 litres, and she's got 23 litres there. So it's going to start 70 litres, and I'm confident that that'll do it off one little packet. So yeah, I should have done that with that one. Oh. If you have any questions about making yeast starters, I do have one that I discussed in my tips in 5 minutes and under, but I think I'll add that to the next beer. I think from here on in, for the beginner brewing series, I think I'll include doing the yeast starter on the videos as well, just to help you guys out. That is coming along nice. That is the first one. The first one that I did. Absolutely nice. I think it's the first one. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be the first one. I must have drunk half of the second one. I don't know. But I've got two full cartons of one full carton of each batch that I've done, and I'll keep one full carton of this, and I'll drink the other carton, and yeah, no, it's coming along quite nice. Have a big taste tester. Alrighty guys, I hope you're learning something from these videos. I've been reading the comments on these videos. I'm not commenting back unless somebody asks a question. But I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from them, from these. So yeah, if you do have any questions regards to anything that I'm doing, please ask in the comments if you don't want to, if you think your question's silly, where there's no silly questions, but you're a bit shy or whatever, feel free to private message me. I get a lot of private messages, people wanting help with videos they've seen, and I do get back to you guys. Or I just say watch out for the next video, and I chuck it in the video, which, you know, gives me more videos, and I can actually sit here and explain what I'm talking about rather than try and type it on a keyboard or whatever. It's just frustrating. But anyhow, I do get back to you and I do answer your questions. So yeah, please feel free to ask any questions, stupid or not. There are no stupid questions. Alright guys, I'm going to end this one. I thought it was only going to be short, but yeah, it blew out a little, as they do sometimes. Alright, remember, beer is making us smarter. And as SJ Paul says, enjoy the fruits of your labour.